1B6.
1B6 coming up. Cooking isn't just science, yeah? It isn't just art, it's perfection. If you're a chef, you're not just making wonderful creations, yeah? There's a lot of pressure. Good timing is essential. And the cost of getting it wrong, well, it's not just gonna be slightly oversalted crumble. It could mean the end of your business, your livelihood, and the livelihoods of everyone you employ. There you go, Elaine. B6, ready. 1 boiled egg.
That is not even hot.
What do you mean it's not hot? I just baked it. I'm a chef.
That is not hot. Then crack it.
What do you mean crack it?
Crack the top of the egg. If that's cooked, then crack it.
I can't crack this egg.
You can't serve it in the shell anyway. Crack the top of the egg.
Okay.
But crack the egg. More.
It didn't work. Kitchen Rush, somewhat uniquely, is a perfect encapsulation of its title. You own a restaurant kitchen, and you are in a rush. In a Jeffrey rush, you are James Hunt versus Nicky Lauda. You are 4 minutes and 56 seconds of spirit on the radio. To put it in common parlance, you are on fire, baby. You and up to 3 friends. Look, this is the restaurant that you decided to open, you wonderful, wonderful, naive fool. And it's going to take every ounce of speed, ingenuity, and coordination to not let it go bankrupt. Kitchen Rush is a real-time cooperative game, and what that means if you're not a seasoned carpenter is that you and your friends are going to be trying to beat a system that wants you to accrue a certain number of orders, a certain number of money, and a certain number of prestige at the end of the game. Except there is no turn structure, there's only a 4-minute round timer, and your workers are sand timers. And once you place them on a spot to do a thing like such as an oven to cook this dish a little bit, that means that you can't take him off that spot until the timers run out. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. First, you're gonna go to the maitre d' and reveal a couple of new orders, and for each order you reveal, you'll get a couple of bob for, like valeting fees. Actually, it's probably just a bribe for getting someone off of the waiting list.
Okay, come on.
Then you'll go to the waiter spot to pick up one of those orders, such as this Cornish pasty. The yellow ones are the easy orders, and did you ever think that baking a Cornish pasty was going to be the easy part? Then go to storage to pick up any ingredients that you might need for this dish. When your finger's on one of the ovens trying to cook the damn thing, visit the spice bag to find that little dash of salt, and finally go to the waiter again to deliver this order early and get yourself a nice little tip. And the dish is served. Bon appetit. Actually, I don't think it's cooked. Probably because it's made out of wood. Ah, but that's the easy part. Each game of Kitchen Rush is played over 4 rounds, each 4 minutes long. Complete as many orders as you can and you'll receive money from the customers and prestige from their Yelp reviews. You can take it easy and complete 1 order per round, but then you'll just lose. The more orders you complete, the more plates you use up that you'll need to clean, the more ingredients you'll need to buy which you don't have the money for, and the less spices you'll have in your spice bag. Ah, yes. The spice bag, my favorite unnecessary board game component in any game ever. Spices, you could say, are just like any other ingredient, and you add them to a dish just like any other ingredient, with the exception being that you can actually add spices once the dish is cooked, whereas you couldn't add uncooked peas to a souffle. Who would want that? But you could also say that just like any other ingredient, you could keep them in the storage area. Except that you don't. To get spices, you'll quickly put down your worker and look into the bag and go, of course, I forgot to actually go and buy the spices that I need to put in the bag first before putting my worker down, and therefore wasting a very precious 30 seconds. Devious. And now comes the real kicker in the kernels. If and only if you've completed your order perfectly, then you will get a little bit of money as a reward. And if the order was particularly complex, well, then you'll get recognized and get a little bit of prestige, and maybe you'll get a laugh out of your friends that you made couscous with cauliflower out of some wooden bits. But don't expect a pat on the back, because all you did was do your job. Because if you didn't get your order right, then everybody will be staring at you. Because not only do you lose prestige for each order you complete incorrectly, but you don't get awarded any money. And if you accidentally did something like overcook the order and cooked it more than necessary, then you have to scrap all the ingredients, put the plate into the dirty sink, and start all over again. And if one kick in the kernels wasn't enough, the game asks you at the end of every round to pay your waiters, meaning that for every single worker that you have on the board, you have to pay free money, which in a 4-player game can sometimes lead up to like 30 money. And you can't even believe you made that much money from just serving all these orders, but all of it is very likely to be taken away just like that. And then you'll need to, order more food next round and you haven't got any money. How are you going to order that food? You don't know, but you're glad that you've got all your workers. And if you haven't got any money, you have to permanently remove them from the game until you go to the office and pay for them to be returned back again, which I hope illustrates the importance of completing every single order correctly, unless you are sent on a permanent downward spiral. And if you think for a second that it is actually easy to complete these orders, because come on, how hard is it to get it right? Well, think about it. You need the right plate and the right ingredients and the right spices and cooked the right number of times. And just to laugh at your hubris, sometimes these orders have an extra side dish. The tricky part with cooperative games is making sure that everyone gets a chance to shine, everyone gets a chance to participate, and one person doesn't get to take over and dominate. And whilst some people would happily argue that, that's not the game's fault, that's just a problem with your friends, I would argue that the way games influence social dynamics is a far more subtle matter, and that notion kind of encourages ostracizing your friends for perceived flaws, which really neither here nor there. The great news is that there's just no way to dominate anything in Kitchen Rush because things are happening faster than... Well, they're happening... I was going to say they're going to happen faster than you could finish the sentence, but that's not really going to work now, is it? If my creme brulee is burning and my lamb burger with onion rings still hasn't got any onions or rings, then I scarcely have time to worry about someone else's moussaka or the fact that Steven is shouting, "I need peas! Can someone buy some peas?" Do you know what? Buy your own damn peas, Steven, because I've just put cardamom on this meringue and I'm not entirely certain that it's supposed to be there. But this is where things start to unravel for this cooperative real-time spaghetti bolognese. So here's the deal. Kitchen Rush is good. Actually, it's not good. It's great. It's fast. It's frenetic. Each 4-minute round leaves your heart racing like you've been jogging for a good hour and worked up the sweat. And whilst if a waiter came and served me this artwork, I would probably ask them to take it back and cook it for a little bit longer, but it doesn't matter because the perfect confluence of theme and mechanism more than makes up for it. The fact that you can spice a dish even after it's been cooked, the fact that you can turn in an order early for an extra buck because hey, you get a tip, and it's got funny bits too, like never having enough oven spaces, and you'd think someone would invest into an oven space, and guess what? You can actually pay money and get yourself an extra oven space. Or the fact that you realize you suddenly run out of the right ingredients that you need for your dish as you're cooking the dish, and you're the chef, and you go, actually, I'm going to stop cooking this dish right now and go to the shops and buy some more carrots. It's hilarious, and it's the perfect crack of black pepper to make this dish well-rounded. But if you wanted the best real-time cooperative game, Kitchen Rush is hard. It's not just hard, it's the Christmas pudding with all the fruit and raisins taken out to make it a tougher cookie. The first time you play Kitchen Rush, you're gonna lose. And then the next time you play Kitchen Rush, if you're playing it with friends who've not played it before, then you're gonna lose again. Honestly, it's like having Billy and Jane from Laser Tag join you at your busy restaurant job the next day. Or like having to juggle 3 eggs without having ever juggled anything less complicated before, like a couple of puppies. Eventually, you're just gonna end up with egg on your face. And I'm not about to criticize a game for being difficult. What I am going to do is criticize this game for how it utilizes and scales difficulty. That first game that you will lose, that's on easy. Then there's normal, hard, and very hard, which I'm not even sure is humanly possible. And you can replace standard difficulties with objective-based gameplay, where if you don't achieve a certain objective, let's say, for example, each person has to complete 2 orders every single round and turn them in early. If you make one mistake, if you slip up, you lose. And the expression on your friend's face when they made that slip up and realized that you haven't lost the game, they've lost the game. That's miserable. And other good cooperative games don't do that. You either win or lose together. You don't single out one person. And other good cooperative games, if you win on your first go, you will still feel the phantom burns on your mustache after you have completely singed your beard. Or if you lose, well, you'll just be able to taste that victory at the edge of your tongue. That's not victory, that's coriander. When you go out there is no pity, there is no remorse, there is no help. You're gonna get slaughtered and butchered, and you're gonna be bathed in blood. Is that clear?
I don't work here. I just want my parking validated.
Corny, I know, but actually more apt than you would think. Because once you quickly explain the rules to Kitchen Rush to your friends, you might just realize that one of you doesn't belong at this table. And in other cooperative games, that is completely fine. You can pick up each other's slack. You can substitute each other's skills and disadvantages. If you're failing, you're all failing together. In Kitchen Rush, you can watch someone slip further and further down the rabbit hole. Their Bernays is reducing into a puddle of egg, and there's nothing you can do to help but watch. And sometimes Stephen will say, he needs the peas, and you'll have a spare work and you'll go out and buy him the peas, but more often than not, you'll just be too busy cooking something yourself and you'll just shrug your shoulders and continue cooking something yourself. And I imagine getting good at that collaborative part of the game is the tricky bit, and I could see myself getting really good at Kitchen Rush with enough plays, maybe even good enough to complete some of those difficult objectives. But the problem is, I think that you don't want to play Kitchen Rush that many times. And if you want that pure hit of an instant symbiotic collaborative experience in a real-time game, might we recommend Magic Maze, that we reviewed earlier in the year and absolutely loved. But if you want a game where you get really good at running a kitchen over time alongside rather than with your friends, then there is no better game out there. Curve orders, well, that means that you're going to... It's actually staying on my head. I did not anticipate. This is the first take. It's staying on my head. You should subscribe to our channel. I'm gonna take an opportunity to do this. And you should buy a Gloomhaven digital promo. I'm gonna try and gently get it off my head now somehow. Oh my god. It's stuck in my hair.